Mangwana ni mngalelepo vugejani vanave Africa. Welcome to this show that keeps you abreast of the latest happening across the country and beyond. My name is Aina Raizakoyo alongside Diana Master. It's a beautiful Friday morning and we are here to keep you informed with the latest news. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
You're looking awesome in yellow.
Thank you. My favorite color.
Brightening up the studio.
Yeah, it just screams hope. Love it.
I love it. Now, let's get into what you can expect on today's broadcast. Bolivia investigates 35 Catholic Church members over sex abuse. Rwanda rejects a ruling that it is an unsafe country for refugees. Royal costs rise by millions in King Charles's first year on the throne. We'll also be crossing over to Zambia and we'll be speaking to Mike Sichula. Stick around, we'll be back with our top stories right after this break.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Starting off our top stories this morning, Bolivia investigates 35 Catholic Church members over sex abuse. Bolivian prosecutors are investigating 35 members of the Catholic Church after more than a dozen victims accused them of sexual abuse, authorities said on Tuesday. The statement comes as the country is reeling from the confessions of abuse that were found in the personal diary of a Spanish priest who died in Bolivia in 2009 after decades of service there. At present, 35 people are accused and under investigation. Daniela Cáceres, a department head at the Bolivian Attorney General's office, told a press conference, "We have 17 people identified victims, but out of respect and as a precaution for the protection of victims, we are not going to give specific details," she added.
Now, Rwanda rejects ruling that it is an unsafe country. Rwanda's government says it takes issue with the ruling by the UK court that the country is not safe for asylum seekers and refugees. Yolande Makolo, spokesperson for the Rwandan government, said that while this is ultimately a decision for the UK's judicial system, the government takes issue with the ruling that Rwanda is not a safe country for asylum seekers and refugees. Rwanda is one of the safest countries in the world, and we have been recognized by the UNHCR and other international institutions for our exemplary treatment of refugees, Makolo said, adding that the country makes a significant contribution to dealing with the impacts of the global migration crisis. The British government has lost the latest round in the legal battle over its controversial Rwanda deportation policy, Reuters reports. Let's take a look at this next video.
Britain's Court of Appeal has ruled the government's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful. Thursday's decision is a setback to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's campaign to deter migrants from crossing the channel in small boats. 3 senior appeal judges ruled by a majority that Rwanda couldn't be treated as a safe third country.
The decision of the majority...
Judge Ian Burnett read out the ruling, though he said he himself disagreed.
Court of Appeal Civil Division is that the deficiencies in the asylum system in Rwanda are such that there are substantial grounds for believing that there is a real risk that persons sent to Rwanda will be returned to their home countries where they faced persecution or other inhumane treatment when in fact they have a good claim for asylum.
In our next story, Kenya former Facebook moderator reveals torment and seeks justice in court. On the verge of tears, Nathan Nkuzamina recalled watching a video of a child being molested and another of a woman being killed 8 hours a day. His job as a content moderator for a Facebook contractor required him to look at horrors so that the world wouldn't have to see them. Some overwhelmed colleagues could scream or cry, he said. Now Nkuzimana is among nearly 200 former employees suing Facebook and the local contractor Sama over working conditions in Kenya that could have implications for social media moderators around the world. This is the first known court challenge outside the United States, where Facebook settled with moderators in 2020. Now, the group was employed at the social media giant's outsourced hub for content moderation in Kenya's capital of Nairobi, where workers screens post videos, messages, and other content from users across Africa, removing any illegal or harmful material that breaches its community standards and terms of service.
Morocco recalls ambassador from Sweden after Quran burning. Morocco has recalled its ambassador to Sweden after the burning of a Quran outside Stockholm's main mosque on Wednesday. Morocco condemned the act, which coincided with the start of the Muslim festival of Eid al-Adha, as offensive and irresponsible. Sweden's ambassador to Morocco in Rabat was summoned by the Foreign Affairs Minister, who expressed Morocco's strong condemnation of this attack and its rejection of this unacceptable act. The protest, organized by an Iraqi Kurd called Salwan Momika, was permitted by the Swedish police, who said that the security risks associated with the burning were not of a nature that could justify, under current laws, a decision to reject the request. The authorization came 2 weeks after the police's decision to deny permits for 2 other demonstrations involving Quran burnings, which were rejected by a Swedish appeals court. The appeals court ruled that police were wrong to ban those, saying the order and security problems referenced by the police did not have a sufficiently clear connection to the planned event or its immediate vicinity.
Now we move over to our next story. Ex-Rwandan military policeman found guilty of genocide by Paris court. A Paris court on Wednesday found a former Rwandan military policeman guilty of genocide and crimes against humanity during the 1994 slaughter in his home country and sentenced him to life in prison. The court said it had found Philippe Hategekimana, 66, guilty of nearly all charges against him. He fled to France after the genocide, obtaining refugee status and then French nationality under the name Philippe Maniam. A trial of Hategekimana, which began last month, was the 5th such trial in France for an alleged participant in the massacres. More than 800,000 people were killed between April and July 1994, according to UN figures, most of them from Tutsi minority. Plaintiffs accuse Hategekimana of using the powers and military forces conferred to him through his rank to order take part in genocides.
That brings us to the end of our top stories. After the break, we cross over to Zambia to speak to Mike Sichula as he updates us on all the latest news that side.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
You are watching Africa Good Morning. It's now time for us to take a trip to Zambia, where Master Mike Sichula has the news on the ground. Good morning, Master Sichula. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, and Africa, good morning to our viewers.
We are having a fantastic morning. Now we begin with news from the court, where two male abductors have been sentenced to life in prison. Tell us about this.
Yes, this is a story that we've been covering here on Africa Good Morning, where Matthew's age 22 and James Walia and Matthews Kaonga, age 22 and 21 years respectively, were charged with 51 counts, among them rape, abduction, and aggravated assault. So these two male abductors did abduct 13 young girls, young ladies in Zambia. Most of these ladies were either students of nursing, others were money boats, they were operating money boats. So what could happen is that they could abduct them and they kept them captive for more than 1 month. So that's them there in the pictures. So what the High Court Judge Charles Chifunda has sentenced to 650 years imprisonment. Now that is life imprisonment. So this is something that a number of Zambians have welcomed, considering that the manner at which the 13 young girls were abducted and kept captive for no apparent reason. So also what people now are expecting is to understand what could have been the motive behind these abductions and who was the mastermind in terms of financing their activities. But from what was reported in court is that these two abductors were targeting male people who had money, especially the mobile money boats. So that's how they sustained their living in terms of renting and food and other activities that they were involved in.
Well, it's good to see that justice is being served. We do hope, though, that the victims do get a thorough counseling. Now, moving on, Zambia will, in the coming months, execute an MOU with the official creditors, which will outline the terms of the debt treatment. Please give us the details.
Yes, like I did report on Tuesday this week, that Zambia has managed to restructure its debt with official lenders. So now the finance minister has gone further to say that government is in the process of executing a memorandum of understanding with the official creditors committee, which will outline the terms of the debt treatment. So now this brings about the nitty-gritties of the debt restructure that has been undertaken by the official creditors in agreement with the Zambian government. So what a number of people now are looking forward is, what are these terms of treatment? How long will the debt be, the restructuring go on? And what are some of the hidden agendas of this debt restructuring? So Dr. Msokotwane, the finance minister, says this will then lead to government renegotiating and signing bilateral agreements with bilateral creditors based on the Memorandum of Understanding terms. So a number of Zambians are looking forward to this so that they understand whether this debt restructuring program is good for Zambia or it is something that will just prolong the paying of the debt and it will have negative effect on the local economy.
All right, Master Sichula, finally, let's move to sport. I would like for you to take all your two stories at once. Tell us about Muzala Samukongo, who had a victory in the Czech Republic, and also about the Copper Queens announcement. Briefly, please.
Muzala Samukonga is an emerging athlete who is the Commonwealth champion, and he has continued on the winning path. So he just won the 400 meters race at the 2023 Golden Spike Athletics in Czech Republic, running a top speed of 45.5.0 seconds. This is after he came in first place, beating one of South African, and 6 others. So this is a huge achievement for Muzala, who has kept improving on his personal bests. Then moving on to soccer, the Copa Queens coach Bruce Mwape, who next week announced the final squad that will go to the World Cup. Mwape says he will pick the final squad when Zambia plays against Switzerland today in Europe. So this is Bruce Mwape has been with this team for some time, and Zambia, as they face New Zealand today, they are coming from a 3-2 defeat at the hands of Ireland. So Zambia is hoping that before they conclude their camp in Europe against Germany, they should have at least have a solid team before heading to the World Cup. So all fingers crossed for the players in camp, hoping that they could be on the final squad that will head to the World Cup in New Zealand and Australia.
We are wishing them the best of luck. Thank you so much, Mr. Sichula, for bringing us the latest news on the ground from Zambia. Now let's take a look at the weather predictions for Southern Africa.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Now in some transfer news, Mason Mount is going to Manchester United after signing a £55 million deal plus £5 million for add-ons. Here to give us the rest of the sports news is Ari Hochad.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news first. It's the Eastbourne tennis tournament that continues in England, and news from the women's side of the draw is Camilo Giorgio. She beat Ons Jabeur. She's the 4th seed. So Ons Jabeur, she's the hope of Africa in the Wimbledon tournament coming up, but not doing well in grass at the moment. So she lost to Camilo Giorgio by 6-3 and 6-2. Also, good tournament for Coco Gauff. She's the 5th seed. She beat Doni Barrage of Great Britain by 6-1 and 6-1. And then Jessica Pegula, also of the USA, she continued to be in the good form in the tournament. She's won a game in the last 16, and she won that in 3 sets. And then also another American is Madeline Keys. She's also through. She beat Wang Yingsu. She is from China by 6-2 and 7-6. So the Americans doing well at the Eastbourne tournament. Wimbledon starting on the 3rd of July. And also on the men's side, it is number 2 seed Taylor Paul of the United States. He safely through. That was also in the round of 16. He beat Sebastian Biaz of Argentina by 6-1 and 7-6. And not good news for Taylor Fritz, number 1 seed. He lost to fellow American, that is Michael McDonald. And it was a close game, 2 tiebreaks, and he lost by 7-6 and 7-6. The second tiebreak was 10-8. And so it was a close win for Michael McDonald through to the quarterfinals. Moving on to football news, and is still in the transfer window, and it is Declan Rice that continued to be in the news. He's a 24-year-old captain of West Ham, and it seems like he will be moving to Arsenal. Arsenal put up an offer of 105 million euros that equals the biggest ever contract. That was Jack Grealish, that also got 105 million when he signed for Manchester City. But Arsenal made progress. They offered 105 million euros for Declan Rice from West Ham. He's 24 years old, the captain of West Ham, and they're still negotiating final terms with West Ham regarding the move over to Arsenal. Declan Rice has been with West Ham since 2014 when he joined the academy from Chelsea. Also good news for Arsenal is that they've also signed the striker, that's Kai Havertz. He is a German striker, and he moves over from Chelsea on 65 million euro, and he will be at Arsenal up till 2028. Also transfer news regarding Tottenham Hotspur player, that is Harry Kane. He's the England captain, and it seems like Bayern Munich they're ready to offer 80 million euros for the striker, and they offered 60 million earlier, that is Bayern Munich, but Tottenham Hotspur denied that or didn't agree to that terms, and so they will offer 80 million for the England striker Harry Kane. And concluding today's international sports news, it is Formula One racing news. This weekend, it is the Austrian Grand Prix that is in the backyard of the Red Bull Hondas, so it's going to be difficult to beat Max Verstappen over the weekend. But Charles Leclerc says that they're confident to do well in the Austrian Grand Prix. 1 year ago, in 2022, it was Charles Leclerc that won the Austrian Grand Prix, with Max Verstappen being second, but it's been a difficult season so far for Ferrari. They did better the past 2 weeks ago, and they had 4th and 5th position finishes, but at the moment on the points table, they're way down. It is Max Verstappen still leading on 195 points, but it is then on 5th position, the first Ferrari, that is Carlos Sainz on 68 points, and then on 7th position, that is Charles Leclerc. He is on 54 points, lots of points behind Max Verstappen. Just going on to the weekend for the Grand Prix, there's rain predicted over the weekend, especially Friday and Saturday. Friday qualifying, and also Saturday is qualifying for starting positions. There's an 80% chance of rain at the Grand Prix track in Austria, but on Sunday during the race it is less. It is a 20% rain predicted, but there's still a good chance of rain during the race. That will make it very interesting on Sunday, the Austrian Grand Prix. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
In our economic news for this morning, BMW to export hybrid cars from South Africa planned. German car manufacturer BMW has announced that as of next year, its X3 models will be exported from South Africa to countries all over the world. They will be produced in the company's Rosslyn plant with an investment of 4.2 billion South African rand, said Milan, the chairman of the management board of BMW South Africa.
Now, royal costs rise by millions in King Charles's first year on the throne. The cost of Britain's royal family to the UK taxpayer rose by 5% over the past year, the annual financial report of King Charles III's household showed on Thursday. Royal aides put the rise in expenditure partly down to the change of monarchs following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 and the succession of her son Charles in May this year. Now let's take a look at the economic indicators, proudly sponsored by Bank Fintook. You're still watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, here are the news highlights. Bolivia investigates 35 Catholic Church members over sex abuse. Rwanda rejects ruling that it is an unsafe country. Royal costs rise by millions in King Charles's first year on the throne.
And those have been our stories. We thank you very much for watching our show this morning. From all of us in studios, all our love, all our light, and happy Friday.